If you click at this video, you probably know what we're gonna talk about, right? It's pretty simple and it's always the same problem. We're talking about crit rate changes, critical strike in general, and why it's not working, okay? Because many ADCs which are critical are not in the current meta, and what can actually improve the gameplay of crit carry ADCs. Guys, I hope you're gonna enjoy this video. If you want to help me out, leaving a like or subscribing will be really good for me, and it will help me out to actually create more content. So hope you're gonna enjoy, and see you on the video. Okay, so the first topic we're gonna talk about is the game length. So when it comes to game length, it's really depending on the hero we're playing on, and I want to actually say right now that if you are watching this video and you're an high hero player or you are a low hero player, it doesn't matter. This video is for both, and I'm gonna explain you when it's good to actually buy crit and when it's not. So the main idea here is that the more the game progresses, so the more the game is long, the better it is to actually play crit. And we can see with the chart that we have here, at least we have those kind of stats. I don't really know if they are approachable, we can say, or like if we can trust them, but there are a lot of games and so on. We are gonna trust these informations that we have. Having a long game actually makes crit builds way better. So we can say that around 3 to 4 items, okay, so at around 80% crit build actually does outscale all the other builds which are like on it and stuff like that. So at like 4 items, an ADC will actually outshine something like a Kog'Maw, which is going little tempo, and like Ginso, stuff, pretty simple stuff. So that's the general idea behind that. So as we can see, from like Iron till Emerald, the game length is around 28 minutes. And ideally, I think this is the best heroes where you can actually play still crit. Maybe Emerald is already a bit low as a timer, but it really depends also on the situations that are created, right? So if you play on Emerald, there are many players that actually make mistakes. So getting a kill off and getting some kind of advantage is possible, whether in like if you play on or like in Masters GM, it really depends on how your team plays out. So getting to snowball or stuff like that is really rare, and that's why going crit actually feels more flip rather than useful, right? So I would actually say that starting from Iron till Emerald, playing crit will be the best thing, and then once you reach those heroes like Diamond, Masters, GM, you actually swap out and opt for the current meta builds, which are, Kraken and Static together. You can see this build on many champs. For example, Ashe right now, it's one probably of, if not the best champion. And the reason is the entry cost of the item is really low, and the priority that you can get with Static along with Ashe W is insanely high, which makes you actually able to do a lot of stuff in the early game, which is basically the most important part of the early game when we talk about high elo. So that is the first point, and you gotta keep it in mind while we progress to this video, because it's basically almost 99% hit. And this will also let you understand better the next point, which is how to improve the itemization around crit items. And so now we are talking about entry gold to actually enter the critical strike and the build pathing. So the problem that I always meet when I play Infinity Edge is that the item itself is really strong once you close it out, and yeah, it has some kind of RNG, if we can call it like that, the 25% crit, and if you manage to hit that, of course you deal a ton of damage. If you don't hit it, it's not even that strong, we can say. But the main problem stays, and it's the fact that you can't really itemize Infinity Edge unless you have at least 875 gold, which is a lot in early game, by the way. Like, many people are doing cheat recalls or stuff like that, and the only thing they can buy, it's either a longsword or a cull. So this is a problem, because you want to itemize Infinity Edge as many crit hyper carries, but the game itself is not actually helping to make that much gold in so little time. Like, I think back in the time, there was way much more time to play the lane, and in general, like, to play the game without actually losing, because of, like, the towers were insanely strong. Many other things that I think, you know, are not worth mentioning right now, but I think this, I mean, League came to a time where the game is becoming way shorter, and I don't know if they want to, like, make it even shorter, but if they want to make it like that, they need to make some adjustments. I just gave an idea with what you see on the screen. You know, having a double longsword, you know, making a pickaxe, and the pickaxe making the ABF sword will be interesting, or at least will be fairly better to make sure that you know, if you base without that much gold, you're actually able to still itemize the item. Or you know, you could even maybe put a longsword on near the pickaxe along with the BF swords. Perhaps, you know, you could add a longsword also where the pickaxe is, and that will be really good. Like, that will be awesome, because you always have something to itemize till you reach the BF sword, and it will make the BF sword way more affordable. And actually, you know, once you reset to free, you have like around 800 gold, you finally close that BF and you're happy, and you're like, okay, I can finally itemize that. So Infinity Edge should be a rush item, or should be something that you can actually rely on, because when you play crit, if you don't play Infinity Edge, you actually suck. So you can't play crit and without itemizing Infinity Edge. And like delaying her to like free item, like third item and stuff, it's so bad. Like, it's really bad. Once you close it, it's so good. Once you don't have it, it's really bad. That's my idea. Like, many item crits, you know, even like Bloodthirster have the same problem. They have a really bad build puff. And the cloak of agility, right? I don't even mention this because it's such a bad item. Like, you buy it and you're basically flipping your stats on a crit that maybe will never happen, I guess. Or even if it happens, it's not even worth the damage. So this is pretty much what I would offer, like the idea that I have. And of course, this idea might be bad for some people. I don't expect people to actually say, okay, all right, this is right now. But I mean, we're not asking for above. I'm just asking for the ability to buy, you know, items in an easier way, because like bruiser items, mage items, most of them, I mean, let's not call Rabadon now, but most of them should actually have a good build puff. And if they don't have it, maybe just nerf them slightly so that they are more accessible and decrease their damage just a bit. This will make way more sense, because instead they become more niche items. But the difference between like a mage that has to buy Rabadons, for example, is that you can actually avoid to buy Rabadons with many mages. But when we talk about Infinity Edge, you can't really skip Infinity. It's like a core item when you decide to play crit. And this also makes crit experience really bad, because it's all centered around one item that you have to buy, but you don't know when and why, or like you don't know anything about it. So that is the thing that I would change. Like, definitely there's a problem with the Infinity Edge, or the fact that everything is centered around Infinity Edge. So either make it more affordable or cheap or like available, and nerf it slightly, so that, you know, I buy this item and finally I can actually buy other items that maybe I am interested on, or simply like find a new way to make crit work. Okay, so the last point I wanted to talk about today is pretty simple, and we're talking about the keystones. So the problem with the keystones is that we have Fleet Footwork, we have PTA, we have Conqueror, and now Lethal Tempo. But the funny thing is that, like, at least 3 of them are not good for like 95% of the ADCs. Like, playing PTA on Kai'Sa shouldn't be a thing. It looks so bad. Playing PTA on Zeri, it's so bad, right? Like, all of these. Many ADCs don't have a keystone that actually fits them. And it feels so bad. Like, I think the problem stays on the fact that keystones as a concept are really toxic, because they actually offer more to the champions that actually abuse them better, okay? And crit champs in specifical they abuse better the AD, so the component of AD. The more AD they have, the more crit damage they deal. So when we talk about keystones, there is not a single keystone that actually gives AD aside from Conqueror. But as we know, Conqueror on ranged is it's insanely nerfed, and even if you play it, stacking it, it's nearly too impossible on a team fight, unless you're playing Samira. But I mean, you know, playing Samira is like suiciding yourself and praying that enemy team doesn't buy like anything that actually kills you in one shot. So yeah, the main point is this for you know, crit builds. But now that they added Lethal Tempo back, Lethal Tempo is not looking like a crit damage build, you know, because it has like that component of on-hit damage, but it looks good for like on-hit champs, you know, because it's like an adaptive bonus on the damage, so it's getting calculated after the damage. So if I deal like you know, 150 damage and I crit, I will deal 300, but the damage of the Lethal Tempo will come after. It's not more damage, like more raw damage, and I think it should be like that if you want it to be crit again. But I don't really want Lethal Tempo to be associated with crit, like with critical strike in general. I simply want a rune or something that actually works with crit, no? And this doesn't seem the case. I simply think like everyone can run fleet footwork, but PTA is really bad on like many champs. Conqueror is really bad on many champs. And then there's Lethal Tempo, which should be actually used only for on-hit champs. And I mean, Lethal Tempo actually hit the mark with that. But what do I do if I play crit, right? Like I don't see anything special on playing it. And so I think there should be something that actually scales with crit, for example, as a keystone. Or like, I mean, it will be really hard to rework the whole complete system, in my opinion. But I just always feel like the keystone system is really bad, like in general for the game, because you actually prefer champs that are using a specific keystone rather than others. And so this is pretty much my thought process about this patch. I hope you enjoyed, and let me know what you think in the comments, of course. This is more of a talkative style of video, like I am here to explain you what I feel like and what I would love to see implemented on the game. But of course, it's also for you to help you understand the current meta and how you should play around it. So again, hope you enjoyed, and see you in the next video, guys. Thanks for watching.